Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to this special documentary on the RCB radio show, our entertainment section where we look at cult classic TV series throughout the generations. We've had everything from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Dukes of Hazzard, A-Team, Cheers, Frasier, to most recent times, Home Improvement, Sister Act. But we're going to stem now into the 2000s and into the turn of the century, and one of the most eye-catching TV series that broke through boundaries, really, in terms of what it did, was based on, we all know Batman, we all know Gotham, we all know about the Joker, but in the prelude of Gotham and the prelude, the early essence of Batman and how he came about, was a spellbinding series called Gotham. It blessed us with 5 seasons, numerous storytellings, how Penguin came about, how Riddler came about, the essence of Joker as well. And we've had so many guest stars throughout the 5 seasons that have all left their mark on what was really a blockbuster series, and what will be remembered in future times as a cult classic TV series. And our guest this evening is the one and only Francesca Root Dodson, who played the role of Ecco in Gotham. And as we know, Ecco is probably tailor-made, or she's sort of similarities to the Harley Quinn character that we all know and dearly love. And Harley Quinn's so popular today in today's sort of world, and obviously portrayed recently on the big screen. And also Francesca's character is so intermingled with the sort of Cameron Monahan, who played the Joker, Jeremiah Velasco sort of character. So we get to see all the backstory of their relationship as well. Francesca, first of all, I'm going to ask you, Season 4 was when you made your sort of announcement in terms of Gotham. And tell me, was it a rigorous search in terms of landing that role, in terms of playing Ecco in Gotham, or how did it come about?
I think I can say now, because the show's over, I think when they wrote it, it was just for one episode that I was just auditioning for one episode. I don't even know if they had an idea of the character expanding. So honestly, for me, it was like a one-off. Do you know what I mean? I just spent like 15 minutes recording it, sent it off, forgot about it, and then I got the phone call. And so the first time I was on set, so it was sort of an afterthought. I think both for them and then for me. And then it just kept rolling, you know.
And did you have to leave yourself open in terms of opportunities, in terms of that, in terms of getting a call back? And once you got the second sort of call back, did you find out, well, there could be an opportunity here for further reoccurring sort of roles, or was there any guarantees or promises made to you?
There was no guarantees. That's, usually the way, unless, sometimes they will, they'll have an arc from the beginning and it'll be really clear and they'll know. But I think especially in a show with so many characters and so many villains, no, there was no guarantee. It just kept each one kept going well. And then they kept giving me more. So I never really knew. And actually at one point I did get another job, and then they got a little oh no, So it was very much just one little thing after the other. But from the very beginning, when I booked it, my manager, whose name is Don, he told me to develop a Harley Quinn voice. And he's like, I think that's where this is going. And I was like, that's not where this is going. I was like, I'm not gonna work on the voice until I get paid. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I just didn't even think it was possible. And then he was totally right. When I came back in season 5, that is what they did. So then once that happened, it was clear I was gonna be in the show more. I did a lot of work to try to create something that felt genuine to the character,
And Francesca, in terms of working with Cameron Monahan, the sort of essence of the Joker character, you really hit it off straight away in terms of chemistry on set, in terms of that sort of quirkiness about both of your sort of characters, and that sort of sense that both of you could sort of snap and have a suicidal sort of moment at any sort of second.
Yeah, he's a very serious actor, and he's really dedicated, and so whereas I am pretty improvisational, so I think that maybe that worked out on camera. So he would come in and he was very concentrated, whereas I'm sort of fly by the cuff. So I think that chemistry, I think it worked out well. And I mean, he like brought so much that it just playing off him was relatively easy because I was just trying to be like the exact opposite of him. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And then I think that, but I do think that that really works, even though our styles of working are so different. I think on screen, once we're together, it actually functions really well. Even though I did a couple things behind off camera that kind of pissed him off a little bit, you know. So, but yeah, I think it worked really well, and I think by the end, you know, I think by the end that was like that chemistry really came through, especially, you know. So yeah.
And Francesca, one of the most sort of memorable episodes of yours in terms of the cult of Jeremiah was the sort of auditioning of new recruits, and they're all standing over a pit with a sort of a gun to their sort of head. And it comes to your sort of character, then there's an essence where you're having a sort of spin-off. I think it's with David Mazouz, who the young sort of Batman, and you sort of put the gun to your sort of head in terms of the bullets. And we already see that essence that you actually have got shot before sort of doing that sort of scenario. And it really sort of stands out that you have that, don't really in touch with reality in terms of death sort of means nothing to you.
Yeah, totally. I know. When I got the script for that, I was so excited because I had no, I mean, I just didn't, it happens so fast, like the writing and all that, and production is happening so quickly. I didn't know that's where it was going. But yeah, the opportunity to play Russian roulette with myself was wonderful. So that, yeah, I did so much preparation for that episode. It was like, because I think they kept almost all of it in, but I'm like talking a lot in that episode. I just go on and on. They cut some of it because it's just too much time. But yeah, that was one of the most fun things. I have to say that like in my whole career and all the different work I've done, that shooting that episode was like maybe the most fun and satisfying and wild thing I've ever done, you know? So.
And in terms of all the face paint and decor of Ecco, in terms of wardrobe, was it a sort of a busy sort of morning in terms of getting your sort of face ready for those sort of scenes, in terms of arriving in at an early morning to make up?
My whole look is like a 3 hour, takes about 3 hours. So because that was my real hair. So they like, I mean, I don't know. That's a terrible thing to do to hair. Do you know what I mean? It's a real, it's like, so they just made my hair huge. And then, yeah, the beautiful makeup. Yeah, I mean, that show has incredible, the creative departments on that show are amazing. I thought hair and makeup and costumes were all so good. And then getting into those leather hot, the pants, like skin tight leather pants. Anyway, yes, 3 hours. It's very involved. And when we were shooting that, we shot that scene on location in like an old abandoned mansion that had that indoor pool. But you can't use AC because it would mess up the sound. So it's like I'm wearing head to toe leather, as are other characters. So it's not just me. But it's like 90 degrees in there. Do you know what I mean? And then you're doing stunts. Anyway, it's wild. But it was all part of it. It was like all made it fun and crazy and like a peak experience, you know? So.
And in terms of working with David Mazouz, who played the character of young sort of Bruce Wayne, I suppose at that stage, after being 3 or 4 seasons, he sort of had grown with the series of Gotham. When we sort of first see him in terms of season 1, he's very sort of a young sort of boy. And you almost get that sort of young adolescent sort of vibe when you're working with him offset and in between sort of shoots and sort of stuff.
Actually, I mean, he's really serious about, like, he really carries the weight and responsibility of being like the main, I mean, there's a lot of different main characters, but being such a big character on the show. So he was always super diligent about like knowing all his lines and knowing all his blocking. And he's a really nice, sweet, I guess I would call him a kid, but now he probably wouldn't like that so much. But he was a really, just none of the stereotypes of like a child star. Just like we used to have a lot of conversations about books and his interests and going to college. He was wonderful to work with. He's really sweet, but very professional. He was great. Yeah. So I thought I was surprised at just how much what would be the right word? Aplomb he had for such a like somebody who's been acting since they were so little, you know?
And Francesca, in terms of Ecco's sort of death scene, was that the way you would have liked it in terms of if you had your own sort of wish in terms of that, or in terms of the sort of way she sort of went out, or was it a bit melodramatic, a bit too sort of not enough melodramatic for the character the way Ecco was?
I actually kind of got into a back and forth over it, which I probably
Okay.
shouldn't talk about too much. But there were a lot of different versions of her death.
Okay.
And actually and I kind of argued for the one that I really liked, and then the morning of it got switched again, which is like, this is sort of just the way things go. You don't really, as an actor, have very much control over writing. But yeah, I guess I only wish that it was like a little more romantic, because for all the fans out there, I feel like I know a lot of, because I'll talk with different fans, they'll send me messages and stuff, and I know that like a lot of them were so sad that Jeremiah he just killed me so freaking cold-bloodedly, So I wish it had been a little sweeter for her, to justify her adoration. But if you're gonna get into an abusive relationship, you know what I mean? You gotta. I mean, not. Whoa, that's not a thing. I'm saying like it was a really bad relationship, so an expectation that he would suddenly turn nice would be probably unrealistic, So
Just a note there to anyone listening: all abusive relationships do not end in a murder. Anyway, just making that point clear there.
With spitting up blood and falling over, and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Francesca, in terms of working in Gotham, did you feel shooting in terms of season 4 and a bit in season 5, once it was sort of over, that acclaim, obviously a big sort of massive TV show and shown all over America, shown all over the world, do you think it opened up further opportunities for you? I know you've had a successful career, but having that on your resume, obviously your publicist or talent agent being able to go and show a bit, look, my talent was on Gotham, here's certain clips. Did you think it opened up certain other horizons that you haven't explored in terms of your acting career, in terms of that sci-fi world? Or
Yeah, I mean, just being a recurring character on a big network show, and then also being a recurring character who has I'll say, perhaps not too modestly, has a good fan response. Like that means a lot, So yeah, I totally feel like it like got me to the next step. Now, then I had a baby and COVID hit, so it's like, I don't really know where that is. But long term, I feel like it was such a great job. I'm sure that when the world gets back to normal, at some point there will be more interesting work. But yeah, I mean, to be on a show like that, also just to learn how to act on a show that has like 150 person crew. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of people watching you. Do you know what I mean? It's just a great learning experience. So I'm so grateful for it. I love the character so much. Obviously, if they have any desire to bring it back, I would be totally thrilled. But yeah, it was a great experience, and I'm sure it was helpful.
And I suppose in terms of voicing that, acting that sort of character, Ecco, obviously it leads that sort of universe as well. You often see recurring opportunities, maybe an animated series, maybe a sort of a TV sort of animated sort of show on Netflix, or where obviously voiceovers might come into play as well. Is that something you would be open to opportunity as well, even if it was a voiceover for an animated role of Ecco going forward?
Yeah, I love doing voice work. It's so fun. I especially love doing more character-y, like for animated, as opposed to more like commercial. Yeah, I love that. I would be completely open to that. It's such a great different way of being creative,
Yeah, and I suppose, Francesca, the second last question I have for you now. Let's pretend there was a Gotham encyclopedia, a sort of dictionary as such, and they put the character Ecco into that Gotham dictionary, and like a synopsis, they left 2 sentences blank underneath her name. And obviously, when the writers and editors were coming around to write the synopsis to describe Ecco in terms of those 2 sentences, they got in touch with your talent agent in terms of, we want Francesca Root Dodson to pitch those 2 lines for Ecco, having played the role of her character. What would you like those 2 sentences to read?
Okay, well, I am really into like writing, so I would probably spend a lot of time making sure all the words were exactly right. So, but off the cuff, what I can tell you is I would like it to say, Ecco was a progenitor of the Harley Quinn character, like an early iteration of what adoration to a Joker-like figure will do to your psyche. And then maybe a little something about like the happiest insane clown that ever lived. Something like that.
Happiest insane clown that ever lived. And lastly, Francesca Root Dodson, just in terms of yourself, in terms of 2021 and late into next year in 2022, is there any sort of TV series or spin-offs or in terms of movies that are currently in the works that you maybe shot pre-COVID or something that we might be seeing here on our TV screens maybe in the later on in the year or in the upcoming near future?
You know, I don't know. So I'm now pregnant with my second child.
Okay.
Probably can't tell because of the way I framed this. But, you know, I don't think so because I've basically been off for the last 2.5 years, like having a family. So right now, no, but it's when there are things, when I go back to work, I will surely let your listeners know.
On that note, Francesca Root Dodson, thanks for taking the time to relive your memories playing Ecco in the cult classic TV series documentary for this month, featuring the one and only Gotham. Thanks for sharing your memories of playing Ecco, a real sort of jovial but a bit of a Fruit Loop sort of character, dare we say, as well. Yes. Francesca, an absolute pleasure, and we wish you, your loved ones, and the loved ones that are yet to come the best of luck in the near future. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.